Today, we unbox Warcrow Adventures, The Corvus Belly. Let's go! Welcome to Jeux tous Azimuts, gaming in all directions. My name is Gilles Duval. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. That'll help the channel. And today we have Warcrow Adventures from Corvus Belly. This is an Jeux tous Azimuts unboxing. That means I'm going to try to be as focused on unboxing the game as possible, but if something else comes to mind, well, we'll get there. And to be honest, this is not the first unboxing I'm doing. I've done this before, and I lost my recording. You know, the only way to learn is to make mistakes, and I did. Mea culpa, and won't happen again, I hope. So, let's unbox this. I'll try to be as surprised as I was before, because this is an absolutely beautiful game. Let's start with the front, okay? Corvus Belly is mostly known for their miniatures. At least before the game. So let's take a look at the, before we look at the main box, I forgot. Let's look at the playmat. Huge playmat, 30 inches by 30 inches. I'm going to go to the top so you can see how big that thing is. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Neoprene, stitched, about 2 millimeters, and it's a beautiful map of Lindworm, the world where we're going to have our adventures. And if I'm not mistaken, the main city we're going to work with is called Lindworm. Is called Hawthorne Point, and it is located somewhere around here. Okay? So, again, beautiful map, large. You need some space to store this. So, what can I tell you about the game? It's a dungeon crawl. You're going to have multiple tiles. You're going to have your characters. This is a game that can be played from 2 to 4, mostly because you're going to want to have multiple characters to appreciate more the experience. Let's get to the box. This was a Kickstarter, started by September, end of 2022, so it took a little while. They were very good at giving us updates and videos on the progress of the campaign. At the start, I was captivated and I backed immediately. That was a good campaign, and they've been very communicative ever since. So, from the top, let's take a look. First, we have the manual. It's about 40 pages. You know, contains an index. Thank you. As list of components, how the dice works. It is really, really well written. It's beautiful. The paper is thick. It feels good in the end. They have a good section about the initiative wheel they have, which we'll talk about in a moment. So, other beautiful illustrations throughout the game, the manual. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's really well done. And yes, this game comes with an app. The app plays the role of the DM, and it allows you to learn how to place the tiles, the tokens, your miniatures, and provides about 150,000 words of narrative for the different choices and the scenarios you're going to go through, because this is a game with multiple scenarios you go through all along. They also have a Warcrow war game, mini battling on a terrain, and they launched it almost at the same time or a little earlier, and they have multiple sets available. I don't know much more about it, but the only thing I know is that their models, the miniatures, are so beautiful. So that was the free quick publicity they gave us on this. Oh, they had also Infinity. That's another mini war game, but this one is sci-fi based. All right, so let's take a look at the punching boards. Let's go to the front, and this is that famous initiative wheel I was talking about. And you can see the initiative tokens of all the characters at the top. So when you're going to be playing, you're going to place during combat phase. There's exploration phase and combat. So when you're in combat, every person or monster involved in the combat will place their token on the wheel at the number based on their character, their features and their characteristics. I put my initiative token, and then what's going to happen is when I'm done, I'm going to move it with the same amount of initiative I had before, so 5 to 10, and then to 5, and so forth. If you go by 3, then you go by 3. And it allows you to change the dynamic. And some conditions on the card will allow you to change your initiative movement. So that changes the dynamic of the fight. So it's quite interesting. All right, so that's the first. Then you have a large amount of tokens. These are tokens for interactions. You have, for example, either treasures or items for an hostile, a map or something like that. So, and closed doors. Then you have tiles. Now, what's interesting about those tiles is that they are not double-sided in the sense that you don't see the same thing on both sides. You have information on both sides different. And you see there you have a blue rectangle. So that changes the way you cannot move your character through those rectangles. So that's kind of interesting. It doesn't change the line of sight because line of sight is important in that game, but it changes how you can move on the tile. And you have those little tiers. We'll talk about those when we get later. These are about damages, if I'm not mistaken. So you have all kinds of tiles. Now you see you have also red rectangles. Now those will force you to use more action points when you move through them. So again, kind of inside of a castle and in outside terrain. Other tiles. Everything is beautiful. The tiles themselves are fairly thick, and they want to come off very easily. I can feel it. So again, you have plenty of tiles for that. And that's the last one in the main box. And you have some kind of a fountain or a central point. Curious to see what the scenario will lead to that. Okay, so that's the punching. Now let's take a look at other items in the main core box. Nothing fancy. These are your energy cubes. You have two kinds, the orange and black. Let's go to the top to look at those. Nothing fancy. As you can see, you know, cubes like you would find everywhere in any game. Now I'm gonna drop one on the floor like I did on the first recording. So good, better this time. We have a base for your minis, black and white. We have cards for our characters. Now these cards will describe the character and their actions they can take. So I'll go upstairs, if I can use that expression, to show you each character. So that's one. So the left side is the character itself. The right side is their action track. And the colored squares tells you how much cube you need to select that row to use these actions. Well, that's all I know for so far as reading a little bit of the rules. I'm not done yet reading everything. So these are our main characters we're going to use all along for our scenarios. There we go. So there are more characters that were unveiled as the campaign goes. We'll discover them as we get there. So characters, we have plenty of cards for the enemies. You can see that. So each enemy will have their own card, their movement, their initiative token that you place on the wheel, and that'll help for combat and know how they fight and so forth. Equipment cards, and this symbol is about I don't know, think something hurting or an event. So we'll see. But I know it's important. And again, equipment and other states in the game. Before we get to the minis, I wanted to tell you about the dice. They're custom dice, specialized. I'm missing a yellow. There we go. So let's go to the top. We'll see. Now, you can see on the dice we have stars, which are the successes, we have a shield, and we have exclamation points. And if you look closely, let me see if I can show you some that are hollow. So you see the exclamation point in the orange in the middle of my hand is not filled. Can I find something else? Oh, there you go. In that black one, you'll see that the shield is not full. And do I have an empty success somewhere? When you're looking for one. There it is. See, on that, there's an empty success. That means that when you roll your dice, you may not necessarily count that as a success unless your cards allows your character, by their features, to be able to take those and take them as success. So there's a phase in the gameplay to transform and to add these into success to your roll. All right, so let's start looking at some of the minis. By the side of the box, you know, I have a second row. So let's start. We'll go on the top again, so that I think that's the best way to show you some of the minis. All right. As I said, Corvus Belli is known for the quality of their sculpts, and it shows, okay? So we're faced with minis that's probably the base at 28 to 30 millimeters, about, you know, inch and a half, something like that. And they get big a lot faster. So that was one. This one is repeated multiple times, so I'm not going to show it to you, each of them. And let's get to the second layer. And let's start with this one. You'll see we're a little bigger. There we go. See, it's beautiful. This one. This one is a little more abstract, but you look at the quality of the sculpt. It's really, really well done. This one's a little bit bigger. You can see the detail on the armor. Trying not to drop it. There we go. Okay. It's interesting to see also how the support in the box for these minis are sculpted to host them and make sure they don't slip or break when you move the box. Another big one. Look at the detail on the wings and holding the weapon in the back. It's really nice. Another nice one. I'm going to keep some surprise for you in the box, so I'm not going to show everything. I'm going to show a smaller one here. I think it's one of our character, actually. Look at the shield. The hair, the braid. Beautiful. Let's go on into another one. By the way, I didn't show everything in the French version either. I mean, not all the same. So if you want to take a look at more minis, you can go there. There, it's beautiful. See, that one I didn't show in the French version. So they'll come to this as well. Let's take a look at this one. If we see it. Yeah, let's finish by the big ones. Now, this one is absolutely big. Now, how do you know it's big? Well, let me give you a size. And remember the first one I showed you. Now, this is the mini, so you have an idea of the scale. That's a lot bigger. The last one in the core box I'm going to show you is this one. Look at this monster. Look at the claws. The detail in the back. Is this a skull in the middle of his back? I have to look myself. No, but it looks awesome. It's really, really, really well done. Okay, so that's the core main box. So let me just put everything back quick because, you know, much easier to put back when you remember where you put things in rather than trying to guess. And it paid because I had to redo this again and again. So at least I was consistent, and you saw the box as it was pretty much when I opened it, because I've been a good person, putting everything back everywhere at the same place like this, except the rule book that I will pull out again so I can keep on reading and learn about it. All right, let's give you a little bit more details when I bring back some other pieces. Oh yeah, card sleeves, nothing fancy, but hey, it protects your cards, so if you have them, use them. There we go. Let's talk about a dice tray. If you look at the angle I can show you, you see it's beautiful green. That's their green. Corvus Belli has used that green in the manual, and in this, it's beautiful. And it's a nice velvet dice tray. So we're going to assemble it quick. Why am I doing this? Well, there's a reason, because they have an extra set of Frost Dice. They are beautiful. You have a nice tint inside them. I'm going to just go and show you that up. Look at that. Look at the dice. See, you can see the marble effect in it. There you go. And see, when you put them in, you can hear that. For people who like ASMR. There you go. So, great dice. Imagine you roll in there, and it's beautiful. It's really well done. I don't have many dice trays. That's probably one of my first that I'm going to use. So let's put that aside. Okay. So, with the main box came some stretch goals because, well, it's a campaign on Kickstarter. So there are some stretch goals, and they included it in the side of the box. Why? Because I'm almost certain, I'm guessing, okay, that this will be equivalent to the retail version, because there will be a retail version of this coming up soon, according to Corvus Belli. I haven't seen anything announced officially, but it should be available at one point. Or you find it on the second-hand market. Someone wants to get their pledge to someone else. All right, so let's take a look at the stretch goals that they had. We had a few characters and their cards. Thinking I missed something here, or I put something in the wrong box. Maybe we'll get there. So these are stretch goals anyway. So if you're not for here, they're in the expansion, but we'll look at that. So we have plenty of cards for additional characters, which makes me think that, yeah, I put something in the wrong box. I'll go and fetch it in a moment. All right, so cards. Small cards for the same characters. And if you recall, we had tokens for the tiers, and now they deluxeified them into plastic. We go on top. That'll give you an idea. Now we have tiers for 1 and 5, as you can see. So that's good. And see, they're all over the place now. Up. There. Okay, let's give you my front. It's easier. Okay, and the that symbol for, I don't know if it's about the fog or if it's a curse or something. But now they're available in plastic as well, so you can see. And some of them dropped on the floor. A value of 3, as you can see here. There you go. Okay. Now, if you are on the floor, I'll have to pick them up. That's okay. Wouldn't be a unboxing without something like that. So let's look at the minis. New characters that we're going to be able to use. Look at the detail again. Really, really nice. There. This one. Look at the quality of the gun. Now imagine if you have a little bit of talent, how these would look painted. Now we have some kind of a troubadour carrying his lute and a familial, nice little eagle. And finally we have this character. Now take a look at this positioning. We'll look at this character again, and I'll explain when we get there. But this character we're going to see again. So let's put those back in. And yeah, I believe there's a piece missing because the character needs its tokens. So that must be here. So give me a second so I can grab that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so that part was missing. These are the additional characters we just saw. And that includes, obviously, their initiative tokens, additional tokens for the story. You can see the musical one that probably goes with the character that has that musical instrument. This one, well, let's just go and take a look at the top of the cards again. There we go, our minstrel. Here's our guy. I want you to take a good look because we're going to see it again. And other characters that were unlocked during the campaign. So, 2 to 4 players. The games will last between 60 and 90 minutes. So, as I said, you play with your multiple characters to have the best experience. And the last piece here I have is a map of Lindworm. Now we saw it with the let me see if I can go and show it to you a little better. There we go. So that's Lindworm, and with the names for the different regions, we saw them on the playmat. And as I said, Othe Point is up here. That's where we start our adventure. Obviously, you can see the fog right now, and as we go through the scenarios, we'll probably go somewhere else. I don't know yet. Look forward to try that, actually. Okay, so these were the stretch goals we had for the main box. But the campaign doesn't have just the main box. It has, excuse me, it has an expansion. It's called Deathclaws of the Dream. There you go. That's the pack. Excuse me. And let's take a look at what we got here. We have a small instruction manual. Let me just go back. There we go. We have a smaller rule set, but the same quality and just shorter. And we have a bunch of tiles again. Now this time the tiles either show in the jungle, and we have, initiative tokens, or we are kind of in a setting with a volcano. So looks interesting. One side jungle, one side volcano. And we have 3 punch board here. There we go. Okay. And we've added some more characters. We'll look at them as well. From the top. There we go. There. And that. There we go. That's 2 more characters. The only thing left are the minis. Now, with the expansions that you have like that, you had multiple scenarios that come to expand the main storyline. Nothing fancy. Expected the cards, the mini cards for equipment and situations. And let's take a look at the minis now. All right, let's go to the top. And there we go. Kind of a one above the other, something like that. Kind of weird creatures. Now, they're presented multiple times, so I'm not going to show them multiple times. Now, we see our character. Look at the sword, the quality of the cape. Really, really nice. There we go. Now, talking about dangerous weapon. Look at this. Looks like as if it was a big orc-ish. Really, really nice. Let's see if there's another one. This. Now, this looks like, a fireball that was shot. And again, if this was painted, it would look absolutely gorgeous. And finally, the big bad. Look at just the sheer size of things. Really, really big. Again, just to give you an idea, the first one I showed you on the expansion is this size compared to this. Okay? Really, really big. Alright, so that's the expansion. Yeah, let's put that back in. Oh, forgot. That's why it doesn't work. You have to put the cover. There. That feels a lot better. Okay. Let's see. The designers of the game are Alberto Aval, Jesus Foster, Laura Castro Arroyo, Marcus Bellosoto. I'm sorry if I mispronounced them. There's no artist specifically listed, but obviously you can see there's someone who has great talent, one or multiple people. So I look forward to having other games drawn by them because they look absolutely gorgeous. With the expansion, during the campaign, we had stretch goals. And there's deluxification for the main game itself. And it comes in the form of game trays. So you have 4 game trays for each of your characters. So quickly you can save your game or set your character on your side when you're playing. And other stretch goals brought some characters, a few more characters. So we can take a look at those now. See, there we go. So we got 3. Now, if you look closely, I need to put it right, correct. Now, this is the same, looks like the same character we had before, but he starts to be influenced by a substance in the game, and it is important to make choices. That's going to be part of the narrative choices. Are you going in that path and get more power, but you're getting more controlled or something like that? Now let's take a look at some characters here. We have, there we go. Now you can see this as a fired something again. And is familial. There's a character that builds some turrets that you can use on the board, and they move and shoot the enemy. call this the ancestry of a drone. Ancestor of a drone. Let's see other characters. There we go. This one seems to be a casting type, because you can see this looks like a spell that's starting or being thrown in front. There we go. There, perfect. Great character again. And this is the character I was talking about being now more powerful but influenced by that substance. Okay, 2 more. Like an angel type. Look at the quality of these wings. Look at the detail. And finally, this lady. Also would be great when painted. Look at that. Alright, so that's the stretch goals they had for the expansion and the deluxification element like the trays. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about extensions. They did offer some extensions. So the first one was called They Came From the Fog. Now the extensions are the two I'm going to show you are extra minis. Big bads that you can add to the quality and the presence of your table. There we go. So, since we're expecting big bads, so we're getting initiative tokens. We're getting the cards that go with it, and obviously the minis. Now, there are multiple of the same mold, so I'm not going to show each one of them, the different ones. So let's go on the top again, and we'll take a look. So see, that one is shooting. You can see the mini bow. Looking at this one now. This. Look at the weapon and the detail of the back. There we go. And the final sculpt in this expansion is this. So this is They Came From the Fog. And there's another expansion. I think it's called Rascals, the Underground Rascals. Yes. So let's put it there. So, Underground Rascals. So there's smaller minis, because the Rascals can be giants. At least not here. And in the same fashion, we get the same thing, you know. Initiative tokens, descriptive cards for these characters, and the minis. So let's take a look at the minis. And they are really small. As I said, the Rascals are not the big ones, but they are interesting to look at. So you can see almost two people on the same up and down over each other. There are only 3 molds here. These two, this one, there, you can see the 2 characters together. And this one is probably the boss for the underground, something like that. Look at the big guy under the shield, and the Jabba type at the top being transported everywhere. Alright, so that's the Underground Rascals. There. Put it on the side. What else? Ah, yeah. There's a terrain pack. or scenery pack. That allows you to have a much better presence on your table when you're playing. So you have tokens for all of this in the main box. But if you want to make it look a lot cooler, you can use these. And if you have talent to paint, oh, it's going to be Chef's Kiss. Now you have three main items, 4 to be exact. Now these are hostels, you know, something like for a sect or something, where they can do maybe sacrifice, maybe offerings. Look at that. And we have a beautiful, it's probably one of the nicest sculpt. I know it's just a disc, but look at this disc. Look at it, that's on it. You see the books, the scroll, the ink, the drawer. Really, really beautiful. Now imagine you have talent to paint that. That's going to be beautiful. And finally, oh, there's the last one I can show you upstairs. Here is the treasure box. Look at this. Instead of having just a little token, you have that instead. It's just great. And the last ones are portals and doors. So you have tokens for those on the main game, but instead you can just put that. Imagine that's going to look a lot more, you know, impressive. Talking about impressive. The last thing I want to show you. This. This is the big bad. The monster you're going to fight somewhere during your game. And there it is. It's a huge mini. Okay? It's absolutely big. But let me build it quick to show you it in the extent how it looks. There. Okay. I'm going to try to make it fast. Obviously, you want to glue this before you paint, or paint and glue and something like that. I'm just, you know, putting it there so that it holds, so you can see how it looks. Now this is it. Look at that. Look at that. Absolutely magnificent, horrible monster. Okay? This is not something you want to live with. Now, if you recall, you know, our heroes are about a little bigger than this, but just for the sheer size of it, gives you a very good idea how big this main boss is. Alright, I'm missing a few details to tell you about the game, so let me make sure I cover them all. We talked about the app, we talked about the narrative that's in there. There's even a little bit of soundtrack to spice the mood in your games. What else? Yes, 60 to 90 minutes, I mentioned that. BGG has it at 8.1 with 80 reviews right now. I'm suspecting that as people discover the game, this will shift a little bit. Either high 7 or stay below in the beginning of 8. Hopefully higher, because I think it's a good game, but I'll know when I'm going through it and we go with a film game. So this is Warcrow Adventures. Thank you for coming and watch this. My name is Gilles Duval for Jeux tous azimuts, gaming in all directions. We explore the world of games, and maybe one of them, like this one, might interest you. Have a great day. Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.